Hello, everyone. I'm Zia-Zarifi, as you just saw. Always odd to look at myself on camera. I'm the executive director of Physicians for Human Rights, and I am very pleased, very happy to welcome you all to this celebration tonight. There are a lot of old friends here and colleagues and supporters. We really appreciate it that you made it here, notwithstanding the weather and all of the snafus that it has caused. It was a dark and stormy night. That's the first time I can actually use that appropriately. And it is, for me, really great to be among friends right now because a lot of us are feeling afraid these days, I'll be honest with you. Not just because it's the night before Halloween, although that does have something to do with it. But I'll start by admitting to all of you that these days, at nights, I am alarmed. Even at some times, I'm scared. I think many of you are. That's something that I hear from a lot of people. But I'm concerned because after 25 years of working in conflict zones, in crisis situations, in human rights emergencies, around the world, what I see today is an unprecedented, concerted attack on two of the greatest achievements, I'm not exaggerating, two of the greatest achievements of human civilization, the incredible advances that we have made in global health and the development of a legal framework for human rights. Both of these are under assault now around the world. So tonight, you will hear from my colleagues, our partners. You will hear things that are frankly terrifying, but also, I hope, inspiring. You will hear about a downward spiral of misery that we have been documenting for the past couple of years, but also a way out of that. Why am I so worried? Because what my colleagues have shown, what I saw most recently when I was in Kenya with my colleagues, there are right now more conflicts around the world than we have seen in decades, with more intense and consistent attacks on healthcare systems. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Ethiopia, Gaza, Ukraine. And these conflicts and these attacks are displacing more people than ever before. 120 million people have been forced to flee their homes. 120 million people. And these people are suffering from more infectious diseases, malnutrition, and all of it is aggravated by the abrupt and cruel cuts to the United States' previous generous support for global health through USAID. And as we document this, what we see is that we can't call on the CDC anymore or the NIH for help. And the World Health Organization itself is hobbled. And here in the US, we now see really a furious assault on the rule of law, on science, on public health, on women's rights, and disengagement from the global system that the US had helped set up. I call this the polycrisis. A technical term for it is a cluster something. That's the scary part. That's the scary part for tonight. But there is also inspiration. And you will hear about tremendous resilience and hope from my colleagues at PHR and the people that we work with. And I hope that through that, we will come away with a sense of a way forward through this. Because what makes me feel better is that, honestly, that you are all here to support PHR. And Physicians for Human Rights was founded for exactly this purpose, to defend against threats to health and human rights around the world. And some of the people associated with the founding of human rights and Physician for Human Rights are here too, and I'm really pleased to see all of them. For the last 4 decades, for the last 40 years, next year is our 40th anniversary, we have been building our expertise with healthcare workers, but also with lawyers and human rights activists to defeat the forces of ignorance and cruelty. And I'm using those phrases, ignorance and cruelty, which are not technical, because that is what that is. And I view this as a very personal and an existential struggle. I left my country, Iran, when the problems of the people led to a revolution that was then taken over by the forces of authoritarianism and cheap populism and obscurantism. I have seen firsthand what happens when a country gives in to those forces. And as the director of Physicians for Human Rights, I am absolutely going to dedicate my life not to have that happen here in my new home. So you will hear how we will deploy the expertise and influence of the medical community, and we connect it with legal advocacy and activism with the intent of protecting people from these attacks. So what they tell me, our colleagues who are experts in psychology tell me, don't be frightened, or rather, if you are feeling worried like me, let your concern motivate your outrage and motivate your action. Because with your help, PHR is meeting this moment. In light of today, I really thought this is a perfect storm. We've had everything breaking down. But this seemingly never-ending barrage of bad news, bad faith, bad actors will not stop us. We at PHR remain guided by what our board member, Austin Ratner, called the ethical pole star of science, rationality, and the rule of law. Those words really resonate with me. Amongst this whole storm, we are able to hold on to what is the way forward. And as you will hear tonight, PHR staff work around the world on the front lines alongside amazing partners who also share that mission. We work in hospitals supporting survivors of sexual violence in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We document the horrors on the battlefields of Syria and Gaza and Ethiopia and Ukraine. And we work in 33 PHR clinics around the US helping asylum seekers. I'm incredibly proud to be associated with that staff. And around the world, PHR has conducted groundbreaking research on the medical harms of tear gas, of rubber bullets, things that we are now seeing on American streets again. We're seeing masked, poorly trained federal agents flooding into cities across the United States. This is what I fled when I left Iran. These people are terrorizing immigrants. They're violently attacking protesters. But PHR literally wrote the book, actually 2 books, on the misuse of excessive force by security forces and the crowd control tools that they use. And so I'm proud, if you look at the news today and the past week, that PHR's expertise is once again being deployed to help protect the public's health and human rights. You will hear tonight that we at PHR stand at the intersection of medicine, law, and advocacy. I'm a lawyer, and I'm heading an organization called Physicians for Human Rights. And that's why, because we are able to connect those different fields in a way that, to be honest, nobody else can. I can tell you really honestly that we stand shoulder to shoulder with the people whose rights have been violated. And we stand face to face with the people who are holding the guns and the power. And what we have on our side is the truth and your engagement. I honestly believe that armed with the truth, with your support, we will overcome the lies, the cruelty, the greed that are fueling the current poly crisis. In these crazy whirlwind times, for us, for me, for our organization, and I believe for all of you who are here, justice is our compass. And we are driven by medical and scientific evidence. And I know that together we will weather the storm. So thank you all who braved the storm. Thank you all for being here. And together, we're going to win. We're going to win. So thanks, everyone.